Hello everyone and welcome to Rosie Sews Modern Vintage. Now, first of all, just want to say that I'm really sorry about the glare on my glasses. I've been trying to get a position, I've shut all the curtains to just try and get to a position where the light isn't shining on my glasses and I can't do it. So I'm going to take my glasses off. I'm going to be a tiny bit blind, but I think it's going to be a bit more pleasant to watch than seeing all the glare in my lenses. So anyway, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me for my fourth vlog now. I can't believe it. It's gone really quickly and I've got lots of things to talk about. The first thing I wanted to talk about was this blouse, which you will have seen in my previous vlog where I did a little tour of some of my handmade wardrobe and I showed you a few of the things that I've made in the past. Just to refresh your memory, it is this pattern, Simplicity 8445. Now, I absolutely love this blouse. It is a very vintage style, so it wouldn't be to everybody's tastes, but this collar I just think is gorgeous, and I love the little turn-ups on the sleeves. It reminds me so much of blouses that my grandma used to wear. She was a young girl in the 50s and I think she always kind of kept to this style, and so it really does remind me of her, which I love. Now, according to my sizes, I would be out of the top size, which is a size 24. Thank goodness high street sizes aren't the same as pattern sizes, otherwise I'd be in a lot of trouble. So yeah, so I'm actually out of the size range for the size 24, but I sewed the size 24 and it's huge, like really massive. I've got so much ease in here. On the back, there's a big yoke. You can see here, there's like a big yoke on the back collar, and then all of the fabric is pleated onto the yoke. So this is very generously sized along the back and consequently along the front. So although it says that the finished garment size is 50 inches, I would say it's more than that. I would say it's probably more like, I need to measure it properly, but I'd say probably more like 55 inches at the bust. So with that in mind, I would size down to the size 22. The other thing is that the at the front, I think you can see in the line drawings, at the front and the back, there's lots and lots of pleats around the waist so that it gives you a nice sort of hourglass shape. However, if you sew them early, the instructions tell you that that's quite an early stage in the pattern making, is to sew those pleats or sort of dark kind of things. You can't always tell how the waist is going to fit you at that stage because you've not properly sewn the pattern together. So next time I think I would wait and sew the pleats at the bottom right at the end, just before I hem the bottom, because then you can make it fit you exactly, because mine's too big and I have to wear mine tucked in, otherwise I look like a sack. So I would say definitely do the darts last. Now, was there anything else I wanted to say? Oh yeah, I scratched my head for ages when I was putting the collar on the, it's like the collar facing, because the actual collar is built into the, because it's dolman sleeve, the actual collar piece is built into the top part of the bodice, and then you sew a facing on. And so this that I'm going to tell you now applies to the facing and the actual collar on the bodice piece. Can you see here it says clip? Now that is referring to that line there. I didn't notice that when I was first cutting the fabric out. So when I came to putting everything together, I couldn't get all of the pieces to match up so they met at the back of the collar. It was all too short. So I did an SOS on Instagram. I think I might have mentioned this in my last video, and loads of people came to my aid who had made it, and they said, just make sure that you clip all of the notches and follow all of the little line drawings on the pattern pieces. It was the most they could say because they couldn't really remember any more about it. But when I actually went back and looked at all of the pattern pieces and saw where it said clip, I thought, is that going to make much difference? I'll give it a go. and it was perfect, and the whole thing perfectly fitted, and I was able to make the collar lay flat. So that was a big relief. So again, my other piece of advice for this pattern is to really make sure you follow all of the little notches and the clip lines. But I do love this blouse. Nice to dress down, and it's also nice to wear with a skirt. Like I wore it with a pencil skirt in the summer, you know, when it was really hot back in June, July time, and I really liked that as well. So it's quite versatile and I really love it. So my second thing that I wanted to talk to you about was the Jenny overalls, which I've got the case for here. So I made this length trouser, but this version with no bib. And you can add the side zips. So you think, because it looks like it's got a fly there, but it's a front zip. Well, I mean, obviously it wouldn't be for it. I'm so stupid, I've just realised that. It obviously wouldn't be a fly for the overalls with the bib. The side zips, you have the choice of 1 or 2. I can't really understand why anyone would need 2 zips, but they do give you the choice. I just put 1 in and it's been fine for me. So I would say, unless you're much more generously proportioned in the bottom area compared to the waist, I think you would be fine with 1. But, you know, play it safe, see how it feels before you sew up one of the side seams. Now I'm a 39-inch waist and a 45-inch hip, so I was a little bit reticent as to how I was going to resolve this. So in the end I sewed in 18, which is a 38-inch waist with a 48-inch hip, and then I thought I'll just grade down on the hip once I've cut them out. What I didn't notice, because I'm really bad at this, I didn't read all the like small print instructions right at the beginning. It's a 1.5 inch seam allowance down the side. Now the reason for that is very good actually, because they do a lapped zipper, so it allows you much more easily to insert a lapped zipper on the side. But I just didn't notice, so I sewed them up with, I think I did a 1/2 inch seam allowance. They were huge, really massive, and I was thinking, this is awful, what a rubbish pattern, how bad can they be, how out can they be with their measurements? And then I saw the little thing that said 1.5 inch seam allowance, and then I felt really bad because I've been saying nasty things about Collette Patterns. But anyway, so I went down to the 1.5 inch seam allowance, and then I graded from the hip. I took out another 1/2 inch, I think, or yeah, 1/2 inch on both sides, and they fit me really well. I'm really pleased with them. I made them in a stretch denim, green stretch denim. It was £3 a metre, which I thought was an absolute steal. So I think that was all I wanted to say. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention about the Jenny overalls is it's the first time that I've ever sewn anything similar to jeans where the top stitching is really important. I didn't do any fancy top stitching on my back pockets, and I regret that now because I think it would look nice if you did, especially if you watch any if you see any Instagram posts from when people have done the sewing jeans class with Charlotte Sews, who won Sewing Bee, I think it was last series, not the series just happened, but the one before that, and she makes a really big deal about doing decorative stitching on your back pockets, and I hadn't even given it a thought, but now they're made, I think I wish I had done that. So just another tip for you, if you are making the Jenny overalls, before you sew your pockets onto the back, do a bit of top stitching if you fancy. The other thing I wanted to talk about was a very lovely trip that me and my husband Stuart took to London last week. It was our 17th wedding anniversary, and because we teach our daughter at home and I have a lot of health problems, we don't really get to spend much time, just the two of us, just to relax and have some fun. So we booked a Premier Inn in Brick Lane, and that's right next door to Spitalfields and all around there, and also Columbia Road, where there is the most beautiful shop called the Jessie Charley shop. Jessie is a lovely lady who has done all of these beautiful embroidery projects. But she also does retreats where you can go to France and do a lovely weekend of embroidery, learn lots of new skills and just generally be with other people who enjoy the same thing. And she does private tuition, she does pop-up shops and things like that. I'm so in love with her stuff. So what I thought I'd do is show you some of the things that I bought, and also on the day she had a special like open day event. It was the 10th of August and she does it every year, and she does a little project that you can do there and then and sort of have a go at doing some stitches. And it was these beautiful little bunny brooches. Look at it. So the bunny was printed and then you could just embroider around it, and then you could add whatever you wanted to. So I've just done some little French knot, made little flowers, and then I tried to do a sun, and then I also just did a little sort of, supposed to be like a little patch of flowers or something, and then I finished it off with blanket stitch around the edge. I've actually decided now that I'm not going to have it as a brooch, because as beautiful as it is, I just don't know whether it would go with a lot of my clothes. So I'm going to open the top and I'm going to put some lavender in it, blanket stitch it around, and then I can just have it in my drawer just to smell nice. But yeah, it was so cute, and that was a little freebie that she gave everybody that visited, so I really enjoyed stitching that while I was there. This is my bag of goodies. You get this lovely bag with a pretty postcard on it, so that's nice. And then she's got her logo printed on the back. It's looking a bit worse for wear now because I've been back a few weeks. So I bought this beautiful bag, and the idea is that she's done all of her beautiful drawings, had all them printed on, and then you embellish them with stitches where you fancy. So she's made a start by putting some satin stitch on the centre of the bow, on the heart. There's also the beautiful clock face on the back, which is just, oh, it's just stunning. It just kind of makes my heart sing. I love it so much. She also encourages you to do things like embroider little patches of vintage fabric, or, you know, slightly washed fabrics that have had a bit of wear, that have got a bit of history, to just create a really pretty piece. The other thing that I bought, I've actually made a start on. So it's this panel which you then can turn into like a pin cushion or something. Yeah, it's just the piece. It's a bit too small for my embroidery hoop, so I've some satin stitch on the cotton reel, and then I did little French knots on the pins, and then this, I can't remember the name of the stitch now. Anyway, done that all over the writing, and I'm not sure, I've done some silver satin stitch on the scissors. I'm not sure yet what I'm going to do for the rest of it. Little crosses all around here. So yeah, I'm just waiting for a little bit more inspiration really, to see what else I fancy putting on there. And then I'd quite like to turn it into, I don't know, maybe rather than a pin cushion, because I feel that's quite big for a pin cushion, but it might be nice to turn it into some kind of sewing case. So, or even a cushion, maybe. Don't know. Wait for inspiration to strike. Oh, it's all so cute. I love it all, and it's kind of inspired me a bit to get going on some other projects, because I got this, which was my grandma's. She loved embroidery, and she started to do this gorgeous rose in satin stitch. I mean, look at the back. It's so perfect. You could almost think that was the front, couldn't you? I'm not that neat. And I inherited a lot of these kind of bits and bobs from her, sewing bits and bobs, and I've never really had the heart to touch them, because when she'd already started them, and I think I was too grief-stricken when she died, because she died absolutely as a shock. She wasn't ill, she was only 68. I didn't really want to touch things, but I'm feeling a bit more like I want to honour that legacy, really. She was so good at it, and I'd like to be able to maybe try and do the work that she's already started some justice. And then I also just picked up, that was the invitation to the event, more beautiful stitching. I just picked up some of her postcards because they're just so cute. And there we are. Thanks so much for watching. I'm so glad to have you with me still, and I will see you soon. Bye.